Hi there. Good evening. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good night. I'm never sure what time you're watching or what time zone you're in, whether you're watching live or in the replay in the live section of this channel. The virtual church of the disillusioned. There's Bucky. There's Bucky. If you know, you know. And if you know, you definitely stop at Bucky's when you see the sign. Not if you're an 18-wheeler. They'll tell you, go on, eat. Not for the truckers. But you can bring in a huge motorhome. That's okay. What's going on in this crazy, mad world that we live in? People moving in, people moving out. All because of the color of their skin. See, if I had said in instead of out, it would rhyme and be the actual lyric. But I'm more confused than Joe Biden in his disastrous presidential term. Hello, Brenda. She's first. Hello, Jack and family. Can't stay on long. Not feeling well. I'm sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. Miles right. Hi, Jack and everyone. Here's somebody new, and I think you might be. Obviously, by the way you say hello, you must be in Hoboken, New Jersey. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Or Honolulu. Honolulu. When you get off the plane and get laid. Miles Wright must be here. Hello, Miles Wright. Hi, Jack and everyone. So, John, let's see here. Now you're from Nebraska, but are you in Hawaii or do you just like to say aloha? Aloha. Good old Nebraska. Is that considered the heartland? Because when Will Kane started calling Texas the heartland, everybody said Texas is in the heartland. So now he just says from Texas. I thought Oklahoma was the heartland. I mean, there's a lot of places that I think the residents call it the heartland, right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? I don't know, but I'm glad to have you all here. Look at this. So it's nice to welcome you, John, on scene. No, that would be a cool name, but that's not right. Could be Udison. It could be Udison. That's just my guess. Welcome. Karen Phillips, hello, Jack, and everyone. Neon is here. Wow, I finally was first. Really? I thought it was Brenda. Truth 01 real. Come on to me, all you that labor, all you that are heavy laden. Georgia Peach is here, and she's got cobbler for everyone, so don't go anywhere. Hi, Jack and everybody. Marty Greco, have you been out there with your cool leather jacket on your cycle? Anytime when you're going for a ride, just text me first and let me know so I can begin praying for you. Well, hello, everyone. Jack A. Rooney. Jack A. Rooney. Jack-a-Rooney. I got it. And everyone. Belinda Taylor, I thank you for your hitting the thanks app and replay video, pre-recorded video, I think it was the other day. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Belinda Taylor, for hitting that thanks button. It's right here at the bottom of your screen. Checking in from California. What's the name of the new book by the UK guy, Steve Hilton? I guess it's Califailure. Califailure. is Steve Hilton's new book. He used to do The Next Revolution, but then the revolution came. We're here. So it should be called just simply Revolution now. The Revolution. You're talking about a revolution. Well, I can kind of understand. But if you're talking about destruction, yeah. Well, don't you know that you can count me out? Bum, bum, bum. Pa, 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 pa. Huh. Robin Roman. Hello, Jack and family. Hope you're feeling better, Bren. I will do that, Jack. All right. I'll give you my number. That means you're on the trust list, Marty. It means you're on the trust list. And if you got one of those wild biker parties, I want to know about it. Give me some time to get there. Rhonda Wolf. Hello. Hello, Rhonda Wolf. Let's see here. I know someone who calls himself Wolf, but that's not his last name. That's his Facebook name. And he's a wolf. He really is. It's, it's not a stretch. Most men are wolves, aren't they, Joe Worrell? Oh man, are we living in a crazy world. It's just so freaking crazy. I mean, just start with Jasmine Crockett. That woman isn't fit to run a car wash. Now, Texas, listen to me, Texas. Do we have any Texas people here? You can't let this woman get another term. She is not worthy to step foot in the state of Texas. Governor Abbott has more integrity in his pinky than she will ever have in her whole body. She's like that troublemaker girl in the schoolyard that starts beating on a fellow student. She's like something like that, I think. That'd be my personal opinion. She has no idea of decorum, but I know Mike Johnson's going to teach her. And this censor crap, it means nothing. I wear it as a badge of honor. I wear it as a badge of honor. No, it's got to be more than that. Her conduct is reprehensible. She has the depth of a kiddie pool, just like Kamala Harris. So let them wade in the kiddie pool together. Pam Donnelly, hi, Jack and all. Hello. Jack, let me know when you'll be in Georgia. Yeah, well, Karen would love that, but you don't go in the summer. You gotta go before or after. After. Will you take me to Tybee Island there, Georgia Peach? I always wanted to see it. So welcome, Nonstick. Pam Tess is here. Hi, everybody. That is your real last name. Cool. Yeah. A gentleman is a patient wolf. I shouldn't be saying that, should I, Marty? We should we should be pretending that we are vessels of virtue. Yes. No biker parties for me, Jack. Do not drink. Well, you don't have to drink at a biker party. And I'm glad you don't drink because, you know, you don't want to be on a bike drunk or buzzed. And people drive buzzed all the time. Go to Texas Roadhouse. Everyone coming out that's an adult is potentially buzzed. It's funny that I mentioned buzz because we're watching Dark Shadows, the original series from 1966 to 71 for the fourth time. And we're up to the part where the character, the motorcyclist, Buzz, he was only on for, I don't know, 10 episodes, something like that. And they wrote for him like no other character. Half the dialogue made no sense. Hey, baby, I got music to give away and stuff like that. Buzz was unique. And this guy, Michael Hadge is alive to this day and like 97 years old. So, Michael Hadge, should you be watching Worldwide Ramblings, please sign in. We got a kick out of Buzz. We really did. Um, you're always trying to decide, you can't blame him for the dialogue because he didn't write it. He might have ad-libbed a little bit of it, but Buzz comes in around episode what, 240 something maybe? Episode 240 something. Barnabas the Vampire is introduced in episode 210. So if anyone's going to start watching Dark Shadows on Prime Video or Tubi, start with episode 210, watch all the way through to 1145, and then watch the first, what they call Dark Shadows, the beginning, from episode 1 to 209. You'll appreciate it much better if you start with the Barnabas episode. And look, there he is behind me right there. Jonathan Frid on top of a hearse doing a public appearance somewhere. We got that when we went to Terrytown for Dark Shadows gathering. Yeah. Oh, you used to love Dark Shadows. Well, I do tend to talk about it a little bit here, Rhonda. Who is your favorite character on Dark Shadows? Other than Barnabas, if you're going to say Barnabas, who else? Other than Barnabas, you may not have liked him that much at all. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, the show was about to be canceled. They had a bump when they did the storyline known as the Phoenix, the bird that rises every, 100 years. And Diana Malay did a wonderful job, and so did David Hennessy as her son. And but it wasn't a big enough a bump to keep the show on the air. ABC was going to cancel the show. Now I say ABC, but in some markets it was on other networks because it went into kind of almost like a syndication type thing. And so it wasn't always an ABC channel, I don't think. Certainly wouldn't be after it was syndicated, but they were going to cancel it. And Dan Curtis, the creator of Dark Shadows, went into the ABC executives and said, just give me 13 more weeks. 13 more weeks. I'm going to scare the hell out of them. And in comes Barnabas, a show that is probably well under 1 million viewers, goes through the roof and stays there for years and years, making Jonathan Frid really the most successful, for the 5 years he was on, the most successful. It's not a daytime soap. It was a gothic soap opera that aired in the daytime. So who's your favorite character? I would love to know if you're a Dark Shadows fan. I love Jonathan Frid. Wow, yeah. Or even Jonathan Frid was good. I bet he is dead. Yes, he died in 2012. Now, you've got to start watching all over because you'll have a wonderful time with it. Oh, my goodness. I'll get to you, John, in just a second. He died in 2012 right after he did a cameo as a party goer in the Johnny Depp Dark Shadows. He, Catherine Lee Scott, David Selby, and now the late Laura Parker, who played Angelique, Lara, not Laura, Lara Parker. They all did a cameo in the Dark Shadows, not knowing what to expect. They were just party guests, you know. And David Selby didn't like it. Nobody really liked it, but you have to understand Johnny Depp was doing a parody. He was not in any way trying to copy or equal the magnificence of what Jonathan Frid did as Barnabas, you see. So it was just a parody. And I enjoyed it on that level. I enjoyed it on that level. Um, hey, here's Todd Bradshaw. The Grand Poobah is here. Hello, Jack. Good evening. Oh, hi, Todd. Welcome, 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 welcome back. Paul Comfort is here. How are you, Paul? You're becoming a regular, and I'm so happy about that. From wherever you are again, I think Wales. If I'm wrong, just just know that the brain cells are not as high as they used to be to count, just like some other counts in my body. uh, Jonathan, am I saying it right, Udison? I'm a big fan. Always watch you. I didn't know, John. I didn't know. You're in Nebraska or Hawaii? We've talked before. I don't remember that last name, though. Maybe you came on as Johnny Bravo. Could that be right? Johnny Bravo? Always watch you. We've talked before. I just can't always attend live. That's okay. These meetings are open to the replay crowd too. I just introduced you to my wife, Sarah. Well, isn't that nice, Sarah, who plays a big role? Well, actually, um, Sharon Smith Lenz plays Sarah on Dark Shadows, the young, um, very young sister of Barnabas. It really doesn't make sense since he could easily be almost her grandfather, but he plays her brother on the show. But then again, that was in 1795, and when she appears in modern times, which for them was 1967, well, let's just put it this way: she's kind of translucent. She's translucent. She can disappear just like that. Um, so hi, Sarah. Hi, John. She thinks you're adorable. Adorable. Well, see, now you've got to take her to Cohen's Optical. You got to get there tomorrow. I wouldn't let her drive until she gets those glasses. Do you have a plan? I hope so. And very calming. I can be very calming. That's true. I did radio for a whole lot of years. And if I was doing the Sound of Life radio network up in Kingston, which was contemporary Christian music, um, occasionally I did what they called reflections from 9 to midnight, which was very soft music. And I would come on and do a little rap, a little scripture verse here and there, and what have you. And that required my soft voice. But prior to that and after the Sound of Life days, I was playing the oldies. I was playing the hits. And if I was on in the afternoon or evening, especially, it would be a different delivery. As I have said before, 92 Rock 7, Jack Willard with you all night long. Let's bring on Lou Graham and Foreigner right now. Feels like the first time, hurts like hell at 92 Rock 7. Different delivery. Depending on what time I was on, it made a difference in how far I would go. Of course, I always stayed in the broadcast limits, and I hope to God that my boss at the time, who happened to be a legend and still is at 87 years old on WABC radio, just go to WABCradio.com on Saturday night, 6 to 10 p.m. East Coast time, and cousin Bruce Morrow, who was my boss at that time, right up here at the castle, the former State Armory. I just hope that he wouldn't catch me when he might find it objectionable, No tapes then. No, I'm going to listen to it back crap. No, we didn't have that. CDs were just starting to come in back then in the 80s. So thank you so much, John, for hitting the thanks button for $10 here on a Wednesday Worldwide Ramblings. I haven't even put on my cool glasses yet, Sarah, but now I will. Now I will because, you were nice. So I'll do that. There we go. See, these are Cohen's. You got to get there. Barnabas was my favorite. Yeah, he would have to be for most people. But oh, for the guys, the Dark Shadows lovelies. Alexandra Mocha. Oh, most people said Moki, but she says Mocha. She's from Sweden. So she must know. That's how they pronounce it in Sweden. Todd Bradshaw would know that because he spent a long time at steam baths in Sweden. I hope you don't mind me mentioning that, Todd. Um, Quentin, huh? Yeah, David Selby, still very much with us, lives in California. He went to the West Coast Remembrance, which Karen and I so wanted to do, but it just wasn't in the budget. It was in Burbank, California, at the Hilton there, and I used to live in that area for a year. I lived right in Hollywood, right around the corner from Capitol Records. Capitol Records, yeah. So I went to Burbank to see a number of shows, including Johnny Carson, Hollywood Squares at the NBC studios there. And yeah, Paul Lynde, I saw him coming out there. The love that was sent in that man's direction. And I can't remember who the other stars were, whether it was Rosemary or whatever. But those were interesting times. I never felt at home in California. But since I kept going back and forth on a Greyhound bus, I said I'm going to stay a year, and either I'm going to stay forever or I'm going to get it out of my system. After a year, I got it out of my system, especially since I knew I wanted to do radio. Well, I had already done radio in '77 in Fredonia, and then California fever bit me again. It was a young man's desire to sin, and if you're going to be a young man's desire, if you're going to have be a young man and desire to sin, you're either going to go to New York City or you're going to go to uh, Hollywood. Unless you're gay, then you're going to San Francisco or Greenwich Village. It's like that, John and Sarah. So, welcome to both of you. I tend to ramble sometimes, thus the title Worldwide Ramblings. After many months of prayer of what is next for me, might be yesterday an amazing whirlwind, a whirlwind, I can say that word, whirlwind came my way. My head is still spinning. Huh, sounds mysterious. Yes, now, of course, we wonder, as Georgia Peach does, not to be confused with Sweet Georgia Brown. What kind of whirlwind? Stephen Pence, not Mike Pence, is here. Wasn't he Richard Chamberlain in an evening soap, Falcon Crest? Well, he couldn't be Richard Chamberlain because Richard Chamberlain was Richard Chamberlain, former Dr. Kildare. And of course, the Thornbirds miniseries. Anybody remember that? I think he won something for that. He's still with us. He's probably 90 or so, Richard Chamberlain. My mother loved him as Dr. Kildare. He got the thing I heard my mother say about a few people. He could put his slippers under my bed, she'd say. And I said, but Mom, he don't want to put his slippers under any woman's bed. No, nobody knew until Richard Chamberlain finally wrote a tell-all autobiography. You know what, 2000 something maybe, or the 90s, I'm not sure. Richard Chamberlain, seems like I remember him in Shogun, yes, and the Thornbirds. That's right. Thank you for reminding me of Shogun. Did I see it? I know I saw the Thornbirds and loved it. Those ABC Friday night movies die hard. Well, I know the Thornbirds was a mini series, It was a primetime miniseries. I think Shogun too. But I know what you're talking about also with the ABC Friday night movies and also those after school specials too. Justin Battinger is here. Very good. Selby, David Selby. Yes, he was Quentin Collins. He came on Dark Shadows in December of 1968. Around the time that a very pregnant Alexandra Molka as Victoria Winters was leaving the show. They tried 2 Victoria Winters after that, and the second one, Betsy, was fine. She was fine, but you can't be Alexandra Mocha, who was then a legend on the show, and we had, like, millions of people watching as soon as Barnabas caught on, which was in the first 2 or 3 episodes, by the way. Dan Curtis said, I'd never seen anything like it. After that, I was in the driver's seat. Someone didn't want to air it live at 4 o'clock or 4:30, 4 o'clock, I guess. I'd say, well, then you can't have it because I got a bunch of other people that'll take it and run it at 4 o'clock. They say, we believe we'll run it at 4 o'clock. He was in the driver's seat. Hockey 92 always makes me think of a radio station. Good evening, Jack, and fellow listeners and chatters. I hope everyone is. Oh, he's leaving us in anticipation. Is making me nitsy. Is making me quazy. Joanne Nitsy, hello. Hi, Jack and everyone. Welcome to you. RIT. Yes. Yes. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm not good with abbreviations unless we go for ASAP. I know that one. Todd is an avid book reader, and he's, music. Someday we're going to be favored by a selection from him. One that is not copyrighted music, please. And I can't do it live. You'd never hear it. So again, thank you, John and Sarah, for that tip. Richard Channing. Who the heck is Richard Channing? I only know Carol Channing. Everybody remember Carol Channing? Carol Channing. I remember her. She was fun. She was like Charo. Hoochie coochie. Hoochie coochie. Charo was a whole lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a lot of great Dark Shadows stories if you're referring to one of those, but um, they have these events up at Lyndhurst Mansion in Tarrytown, New York. Now, last year it was in Tarrytown at the theater there, the Tarrytown Music Hall. And so we went. I think it was built in the late 1890s or something like that. Beautiful theater. And we saw 3 of the cast members of Dark Shadows, including the one who played Eve and Crazy Jenny. And her last, she was Megan in the Leviathan storyline, the least popular Dark Shadow storyline. But with that said, there's some great moments on there. Great moments. And there's those 3 annoying kids I could do without. But what are you going to do? And one of them became an adult and stayed with the show. It's Christopher Pennick. He's gone. He's gone. James Storm is very much alive, who came in late to Dark Shadows, but made an impact in his character, who was first a ghost. Yeah. But it was just a wild thing to be only in my second job in radio, and I was working for Cousin Bruce Morrow, Cousin Brucey, down the road, who was co-owner with the station, but really the main owner was Robert F.X. Sillerman, who would go on to be on the Forbes list. And after that, he became a billionaire, and he was on the Forbes list for a while. And he, in his later years, before his passing of some kind of blood cancer or something, he bought the name Elvis Presley. He bought the name Elvis Presley. And he had it until his passing. In other words, if you were going to do anything Elvis, he was going to get a cut of it, and have to approve it. I'm glad you're here, Joanne Nitzy. Nice to have you. And Hockey 92 saying good evening to the fellow listeners, viewers. Remember, I say that as a radio guy when I realize that it's actually possible to see me. I hope everyone is. Oh yeah, we're still waiting for the rest of that. Good, very good. I see that now. I see that now. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Um, John is married 10 years, huh? So are you younger than some of the rest of us? I just last Friday, the 21st of March, I and Rosie O'Donnell had a birthday. Matthew Broderick, Eddie Murray, come on, Eddie Money would have had a birthday, but he's no longer with us. And others. I turned 69. I think Rosie turned 64. And is in Ireland now, and I miss her every day. I miss her every day. So I called up Babs the other day. I called up Barbara. Barbara. Everyone who's Barbara gets called Barbara. No, it's Barbara. Barbara, but not in the case of Miss Streisand. It's Barbara Streisand. You know, and she's inconvenienced me a number of times because 2 times she said, if he gets elected, I'm leaving the United States. And her and Jimmy are still around. I noticed that, you know. I mean, it's been a long time since he played Robert Young's apprentice doctor there on Marcus Welby, MD. It's been a long time even since he was horrified in what do you call it there? 2 movies. Oh, jeez. I hate when this happens. What was the movie, James Brolin, where the whole family gets possessed in a house? Excuse me. I do have cough drops if I need them. I got that on the tip of my tongue. I can't read it, though. It's a little wet. Stephen, wasn't Richard Chamberlain in an evening soap, Falcon Crest? I see what you're saying now. He may have been. David Selby was. I think David Selby was in Falcon Crest. So you could be right about that. But David Selby is taller, although Richard is pretty tall, and dark hair. And he was in a film with one of my favorite actors. Remember the late, great Jason Robards? But in terms of Jason Robards' movie, this would probably be one of the worst things he ever did, called Raising the Titanic. Raising the Titanic. If you can get through that one, you got more patience than me. And I love David Selby, and Jason Robards at the time was like my favorite actor. He looks like my dad a little bit. So so does John Taffer, by the way. John Taffer from Bar Rescue. I love Bar Rescue and John Taffer, and he reminds me of my dad. He reminds me of my dad. But he had quite a few people in Falcon Crest. Someone was talking about Larry Hagman to me today. I wonder if you're watching right now. I won't say your name or anything, but they were telling me that their family, I think his dad knew Larry Hagman, who, of course, gained fame as Major. What was the character on I Dream of Jeannie? He gained fame there on the small screen, and it was small back then. It wasn't 70 inches then. No, we didn't have 14,000 channels either, or whatever we have. So I'm not sure. I know that Richard continued to work and did, TV movies, and occasionally would show up on television. But there was some very famous people in Falcon Crest, which I think is available maybe on Hulu. I don't have Hulu anymore. I don't want anything Disney. Oh, Snow White, 300 and close to $300 million to make, and so far it hasn't cleared 100 million, and that's internationally. The actress. Oh boy, she comes on first. She comes on before I think she's even completed the film. Well, we're not going to do that traditional story. It's not going to be about a woman, I'm paraphrasing here, being gaga for a man. It's about women that are self-sufficient, and there's not going to be any elves. What? you know, if you're not going to do Snow White, don't do it. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Then someone said that they got so much blowback as they were in post production that they added some CGI elves. Did they? I'm never going to see it, so I'm never going to know. Stephen Pence. Um, let's see here. Richard Chamberlain seems like okay. I'm that far. I got to go down then because yeah, I ended up high up on the chat here. If I miss a good comment, I apologize. I try to get them. Hmm. Amityville Horror. Absolutely correct, John. Amityville Horror. I knew it was something with an A, but I still couldn't pull it out of my head. Well, look, here's Susie Q. I love you. Oh, Susie Q. I also love the hostess version of Susie Q with a glass of milk, but that's just about, you know, that's about as good for you as a as a trip into Anaconda Park. Anaconda Park. Yeah, but every once in a while for somebody like me means no more than once or twice a week, something like that, something equivalent to it anyway. Judy Wright, not Betty Wright, the cleanup woman. I mean, she really cleans up. Yeah. Hi, Judy. It's been a little while, right? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. What did I name this? This is kind of an informal. Sometimes I have topics. I'm going to promo some topics that we're going to be doing. Okay. 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 I mean, I'm surrounded. I don't want to. I don't want to get you alarmed here, but there's activity in them there skies. There's activity in them there skies. For the last week and a half, it's been going on, and that's only when we started noticing it. The drones are back in New York, ladies and gentlemen. They're back, but there's some other things too. But Karen has seen them. I saw them, and I'm surprised there's not more talk about this. Um, See, we have Stewart Airport not far from here in Newburgh, New York, and there is a flight pattern. They come like four houses down. They come like four houses down, and they kind of fly over that house. And they're always ascending when they get to our street. They're ascending at that point, so you always see them going up. Um, but this is not that. They don't follow that flight pattern at all. You can see red, you can see blue, you can see white, and these are not, Junior's drone. This goes far. You never let your drone get out of your sight. You don't want to lose your expensive drone. These are much bigger drones, and they're back, and you can hear them. You go out there in the backyard and you hear the rumble, the engines, and what have you. And then you start to see them. And they don't follow any flight pattern per se. They go the way they want to go. And so I'm going to be putting up a little bit of video, probably by tomorrow. It is laundry day, so it could be Friday. I got to go to Mr. Washy Washy tomorrow with Karen and do our duds, both our dryer and washer died. First the dryer, then the washer. Can't afford another one. My retirement is somewhat meager. So I find myself, hoping that YouTube will compensate for that. And we're doing okay. We're under, but we're doing okay. So thank you for the thanks button. The other way to just give a tip, it's a virtual tip jar here is what it is. If you have Cash App on your phone, or if you want to load it from the App Store, Cash App, where you link your checking account, as I do, and I pay a few bills with it besides receiving tips on it. Um, my handle, lowercase letters, is Media Guy 56. Diaguy 56. Media Guy 56. Um, so, but we couldn't do that. M. Silver's here. Howdy, y'all. M. Silver from the Lone Star State. We got to get rid of this. You got to take some time off, and you got to go down and talk to the people in Houston and get rid of this Jasmine Crockett, because she's the worst. I mean, she's starting to make AOC look really good. Come on now. This woman no more deserves to be a U.S. Congresswoman than I should be. I should be a ballerina. I don't think I'd look good in a tutu. Anyway, let's see here. I do have a few pictures to show you. When I show them instead of a pre-recorded video, but live, you never know what quality you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates used to be. You never know what you're going to get. Never know what you're going to get. So I'm looking at my own channel right now. I had my Saturday Night Hawaiian shirt on. It was 3 parts. We crashed twice. Saturday nights, that's when that usually happens. We crashed twice. But let's see here. Why I think Bob Joyce may be Elvis. That was the title of what turned out to be part 2 of the video. 1,500 plus views now. 1,500. Anne Margaret Talks Elvis. We play some of Anne Margaret at 83. She did an interview with Charlie Rose before, much before, when Charlie was on every night on PBS. Boy, did PBS go downhill since Charlie left. Put it right in the hands of woke children. And when you do that, your legendary platform turns into, I don't know, dung. But Anne Margaret was at a convention, I think this past weekend in Kansas City, Comic-Con. And so you'll see a picture. This is all in the live section of this channel, the Virtual Church of the Disillusion. That was part 1 of Worldwide Rambling Saturday night. That's got about 674 views, not doing as well. Some of our live shows do very well, and some of them don't hit 1,000. See, if it doesn't hit 1,000, then it's kind of it's a freebie show in terms of you get paid per 1,000 views. That's the way that works. So back to the live stream, and let's look at a few pictures. I don't know how this will turn out. Yeah, I watched the replay, Jack. I knew you would have. And I was like, oh, goody. On to chapter 2. You all recovered well. Yeah, sometimes it all depends on what type of a crash it is. Sometimes I can get back on really quick, and other times not. But yeah, you don't want to allow yourself to be discombobulated because you crashed. Because there is kind of a blessing to that. If you do 2 good topics, you can get 2 sets of views, So part 2 was definitely the successful one, the most successful. But thank you for watching the replay. But I was here Saturday night. Oh, Todd Bradshaw, yeah. I don't know. You have to remember, Todd does belong to a secret society, so he can't say everything. He can't say everything. Let's see here now. So some of these pictures I'll probably do in a roll-in video, and this is just KETINA here. Once again, howdy to you, M. Silva. Is KETINA here? Here is Overbill Automotive. He's simply got too much under the hood. Too much under the hood. Yeah, this will be the thumbnail for this show. Team SWAT. Should really wait till she's here, but she'll watch the replay, I bet. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris and KETINA SWATSWORTH. I hope you can see this good. Nope, you can't. See live. She's totally whited out there. It'll be in the thumbnail. Sometimes I can get it if this is why I don't usually roll in things live. Sometimes I get lucky and sometimes I don't. So I'm going to roll that in a pre-recorded video, but you'll see the actual picture when we're done because I'm going to make it the thumbnail. I'm going to make it the thumbnail. So let's see. It could be the way I've got that light over there positioned that could screw me over. Let's see how Bill Shatner looks. Mr. William Shatner, 94 years old. He's had several cakes, and this time he has a cupcake with a candle in it. There it is. See, that comes in. It all depends on the color of the photo. 94-year-old William Shatner. I'll roll that in too. And let's see if my UFO picture right outside that window back there. I shot this video at like 3:45 in the morning. This is just a still shot of it. This is just a still shot of it. It was just hanging around. It wasn't going anywhere. It was just hanging around, doing little tricks for me. But I'm going to wait to the pre-recorded video to do any more. There it is. Strange things are happening in River City, ladies and gentlemen. Strange things are happening. That's out of this world. Probably. You know, I'm not far, John and Sarah. I'm not far from Pine Bush, New York, that for years was the East Coast headquarters for UFO sightings. I'm talking about people in the summer would come into these empty farmlands, which were actually owned by somebody, with their launchers and sit there with their binoculars and video cameras and, cameras waiting for UFOs to go by. So if you go into downtown, Pine Bush, New York, there's the UFO Museum. And what else? UFO and Paranormal Museum. And if you go down the road and make a right, you go to the diner, and that's called the Cup and Saucer. The Cup and Saucer. And outside is a little alien aircraft. Yeah, that's Pine Bush, New York. But it seems like the aliens thought that Pine Bush was just getting too crowded with those annoying spectators. So they moved. However, people say, no, they didn't move. They're still around. And what we call Wurtsboro Mountain, they would see them fly there and something would open up and let them in. Yeah, that's one of those stories. That's right, Jack. It's a Swedish secret society. Well, now you got me thinking of Alexandra Mocha from Dark Shadows. I have her too. So it'd be, be an appropriate time to find that, wouldn't it? Let me see. Where is my lovely Alexandra? Here she is. As Victoria Winters. To Tom best, Alexandra Molka. There you go. There's Victoria Winters from Sweden. Still lives in New York City, as far as I know. She is 77 years old now. She is 77 years old. But she was Swedish. Her parents had money. She wanted to be an actress, so they wanted to go to New York City. They said, well, we'll get your apartment set up and everything. And so she never had to worry about the low wages on Dark Shadows. The highest paid actress on Dark Shadows, especially in the beginning episodes, was Joan Bennett, movie star Joan Bennett. I'll tell that story in a second. What does Alexandra look like today at around 77 years old? She looks like this. She looks like that. And she works at a museum, volunteers her time and stuff like that, and has done that for years. She did some acting after a while, after a break from, she left Dark Shadows in 68. I'm seeing them almost every night, Robin. 2 nights this week, I was out in the yard and Karen came out and we're looking and I'm thinking, I hope I don't get beamed up. That would be a drag. Because, what they do is they probe you, then they leave you naked behind the local convenience store. And that's not a convenient thing. Whitley Strieber, says John Udison. I know exactly who you're talking about. I heard many interviews with Whitley Strieber. I don't think Whitley had any experiences in Pine Bush, New York, because I don't think he lived around here. But I have a feeling, John, that like me, you used to listen to Coast AM with the late, great Art Bell. If Rush Limbaugh was the greatest talk man of all times in the daytime, Art Bell was the best ever. 5 million people listening to him at 2 o'clock in the morning on 500 stations. 5 million people as he broadcast from his home in Pahrump, Nevada, in the high desert from the city of Nye. Here's Art Bell. Oh, I loved him. Here I was pretending to be a peace officer. I had the uniform on, everything. The badge said police, which was real good when I did 72 and a 65 and got pulled over. License and registration. Sure, I wasn't pretentious like some people. I just give them all that. And then I would take my wallet that had the shield and I just kind of hold it right there. I hold right there, see? I'm not asking him for anything. I'm just holding the shield. And he would say, oh, on the job. Where do you work? I'm a Department of Homeless Services police for the city of New York. Yeah. I didn't tell him I didn't actually work in the city, that I worked in Chester, New York, because the city owned the homeless shelter there to bust them out of New York City, Oh, there were plenty in the city too, though. So there I would be on the midnight shift because I was about as much of a peace officer, again, as I am a ballerina. So I faked it for 17 of the 19 years I was on the overnight shift. I'd take a nap every night. But before I did, I would be listening to Coast AM for as much as I could. And sometimes I didn't get much rest because I had to be on the meal line by like 5:30 in the morning. The things started happening then. You were expected to be where you were supposed to be. But at 3 a.m., the sergeant had the lights out and he was sleeping. So, so I'm listening to Art Bell, and yes, Whitley Strieber was one of his favorite guests. Well, here's KETINA. tried to show your picture, and as often does, the other pictures came out pretty nice, but since yours is a little darker, it washed you out. You look like a ghost toasties, Katina, but you will be the thumbnail for this edition of Worldwide Ramblings. And when I do a roll-in video, I'll have Andy roll in your picture, okay? You and Chris. So welcome, welcome, welcome. What's incredible, Robin? Jackie Organ is here. Tess talking about the first computer I sat at was a Lanier tower the size of a love seat. Yeah. And I fell in love. No one else in the office would touch it, and I couldn't take my hands off of it. That was a problem at various times in my life for me. Yeah. That sounds really worse when I meant that, had a love for the ladies is what I meant, but didn't come out sounding like that. Okay, Katina, you can hit me with the ruler now. I know. We will keep praying that Jack gets his mind out of the gutter. Let's see. Todd reacts nice. Mine was a Commodore computer, Commodore computers. And every day when Todd walked in, they sang to him, "Just to be close to you for the sugar, sugar, sugar." Be better if I knew some of the lyrics to "Just to Be Close to You," which I've played dozens of times on the radio and heard it on the radio when I was driving around. Easy, easy like Sunday morning. Oh, Katina, I'm hopeless. You know it. You know it. I'd even like the ruler, so that's not going to work. Take away my pizza, Katina. You want to punish me? Take away my pizza. And you know what? I was talking about Mr. Washy Washy. Tomorrow is Thursday when we go to Mr. Washy Washy Laundry. Used to be called Dirty Duds before he bought it. He is Eli. He's from Mexico. Not Eli. Eloy. Wonderful guy. He also sells clothes and other things in his laundry. It's a very strange laundry. And the thing is, they sit there and he's 3 doors down at Dutch Girl Cleaner. So, it's on the honor system. Don't take my pizza. I got to introduce you and Chris to New York pizza. So come on down for Summerfest, July 20th. But come down earlier than obviously the Sunday or the 19th. We're going to be at Lyndhurst Mansion, to see Dark Shadows, Maggie Evans, Chusette Dupre herself, Catherine Lee Scott, and also Sharon Lenz will be there, who played Sarah. And they're talking about David Collins showing up. He never shows up. He has 3 restaurants, I think it's 3, in Panama City. Mr. David Hennessy, who played David Collins, Jameson Collins, and Tad in Dark Shadows, because they would go back in time sometimes. He's a successful rich guy now, and he may come to Lyndhurst on the 19th and 20th. Watch, he'll come the 20th when I'm at Summerfest with Jimmy Sturr at the Polish Club. We have tickets for Saturday. They're very cheap. Don't think I'm spending a lot of money here. I'm now worried about anything I tell you. I'm going to kill the thanks button, because they're going to say, well, if he can do that, and I got to share these things because, but they're on a credit card and I can only do so much of this, But I did it today. I did it for something really special today. I could not resist, Katina. I just had pizza for supper. Yeah, you probably had Red Baron, which isn't bad for box pizza. Or you had Domino's, right? You like Domino's. Well, I don't think it's really so much a matter of you don't have Brother Bruno's like I do, just a mile and a half down the road, which I'll be right next to. First it's ShopRite. Well, there's other stuff where I get my hair cut at Classy Cuts. You don't want to blow the name of that place, Classy Cuts. with Vito Yazzo. Vito, are you here? Are you here? He's here from time to time. My hair guy who owns Classy Cuts with his beautiful wife, Jessica. And so, yeah, I just love pizza. But you're skinny. You can do it. You probably work out, right, Katina? You work out and you don't eat this stuff every day. And I don't either. But, there's so many bad things out there. So many bad things. But, right? I mean, some people, if they get to heaven and there's no coffee, they're going to be bummed. And for me, no New York pizza in heaven. There's only one scripture I can point to where we're going to have a feast with the Lord himself, a banquet. And there's always food at a banquet, right? Yeah. So I will have pizza tomorrow. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Anyway, I did use the credit card today, my Priceline credit card. So now I've got more debt to dig myself out of, but I just couldn't resist, folks. Some of you will appreciate this, that I had to do this. So I go on Facebook and I see an ad for Johnny Mathis, right? I've never seen Johnny Mathis, been a fan since I was a little kid. And they're announcing that Mr. Mathis is going to cancel the second part of his tour. They're hoping he can do the first half. The first part of the tour starts in April, and he's going to try to make it all the way to July 18th with sporadic dates when he will do his final show of his career at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. Now, I hate going down that way in traffic, but so I look at the very first date, Thursday, April 8th. April 8th. It's in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. Seats still available. Go to johnnymathis.com. You buy them right there on his website. Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. And I got some fairly economically priced seats in the balcony, right on the aisle. I like that. If I have to go to the bathroom or something, I don't want to have to go through 8 people that don't want to move. So we're right there. Karen and I are right on the aisle. And he is going to be 90, but I thought he was already 90. And he's starting to have memory issues. He's having memory issues, which means, I'm not saying Alzheimer's, but memory issues is what they're calling it right now. Glenn Campbell did a whole tour with Alzheimer's, but there were some really rough moments in those shows. And then there are other times when he would come alive and he would be good. But, they knew when they had to stop. It got to be like, this was a train wreck tonight. So he'll have, I'm sure he will have monitors with the words to the songs because he needs that now. But I never saw him, and this is the last possible chance. I picked the first day of the tour, April 8th. He's been on tour for Christmas, but now he's coming back, but they're realizing that he's going to have to retire. So Karen and I are very much hoping to see Johnny Mathis on April the 8th in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. And we will be at the Best Western Hotel. And that was also a Priceline deal, very economical. I'm a VIP because back in the day, I used to go to Texas a lot and they kept my status, even though I don't use Priceline anywhere near as much as I used to. But we're hoping to see Johnny Mathis, and that should be a good thing. Good night, Brenda. Good night. I used to love pizza, but the last time I had one, it was tasteless to me. Well, have you lost your sense of taste, Tess? Do you have long COVID? I hope not. I do love a good pizza. Oh, it's more than love, Todd. I mean, I don't want the Lord Jesus Christ to say to me, if you had only loved me half as much as you loved a New York pizza with mushrooms and peppers on it, if you'd only loved me half as much as that. I don't want to hear those words. I don't. Lionel Richie adopted Nicole. I remember that. I used to watch that show that Nicole and Paris Hilton were on. It was actually enjoyable. I enjoyed that. Had a little crush on Nicole. Lionel Richie adopted Nicole after she, as a little girl, attended his concert. I didn't know that part. Brought Nicole, someone brought Nicole on stage, or he brought Nicole on stage, just like Bruce brought what's her name from, in the song she danced with him to in Dancing in the Dark, and that of course is what's her name, the famous actress from the famous sitcom, and you know who she is with the dark hair. Then Lionel and his wife started spending time with her. Really? Not a good family life. And they adopted her. I didn't realize that's how that came about. Huh. Christari is here. Hi, Christari. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am here. I was live. Oh, you were live. So what's the name of your channel, Christari? I think it was part of grieving because pizza was a weekly ritual. Yeah, it's a comfort food. It does. It's like macaroni, good macaroni and cheese. If you're going to get it in a box, you got to go Stouffer's because all the rest, Bob Evans, okay, but you know, Stouffer's. But you want the homemade macaroni and cheese. And the Italians make it different. Have you noticed that? It's good, but it's totally different. Because yes, Tess lost her husband. Exactly. And that does make you feel better, Let's face it. A piece of cheesecake will make you feel better when you're down in the dumps.